Hello everybody, lmao here from PokeLairTCG, and I'm here today to show you guys, as you can see from the title, what I think are the top 5 decks coming into the London Intercontinental Championships. We will not be going there, but since there's a new set involved, I think it deserves a video describing what I think the best decks are. These are not in order, these are just what I think are the top 5. So let's go into 5th place, and I think 5th place, Zoroark Ninetales deserves a spot. This deck has been doing super well in the current League Cup status. Everyone's playing this deck. It's really solid. Zoroark GX being there as a secondary attacker and able to trade the water energies and Aqua Patch it. It has really good synergy. And it can be able to attack with a lot more damage because, as you can know, Ninetales takes a little bit to set up. And just having Tapu Koko, Espeon, and Ninetales Ice Blade attack can really help against those evolution decks such as Gardevoir. And this can also help against GX attacks. But I think this card has been seeing a lot of decrease in value since everyone, like Gardevoir has Gallade, Volcanion has Baby Volcanion, etc., etc. So let's go into, we talked about Pokemon, let's talk about the item cards. Aqua Patch is what really makes this deck superb because, as you guys know, Ninetales Blizzard Edge attach, huge attack, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Usually you want that to be a double colorless energy, but sometimes it has to be water, and just being able to double colorless, double Aqua Patch just makes this deck super fast. It's not like Turbo Lapras or anything, but it keeps its speed up in the meta. And Ninetales is personally one of my favorite cards from Guardians Rising. I think it's right up there with Tapu Lele and all the Choice Band, Field Blower, etc. I think this is probably the second best GX Pokemon to be printed right now because it's just such a versatility card too. As we see, it's in to join Ninetales, stuff like that. But even more so, I think Zoroark is definitely that. Him and Lele are the best cards to be splashable in any deck. Like, as you guys probably are going to see in the League Challenge videos, I played Gardevoir with a 1-1 line of Zoroark GX instead of 1-1 line of Artillery. And by the way, I totally misplayed the second game, but we still won. And in the third League Challenge round, I just dead drew. And I still got top 4, which means I got points and a couple packs, so that's pretty awesome. And we have an Enhanced Hammer here. This is really just like a personal preference card. Enhanced Hammer is one of my favorite cards, and just because I love Disruption. So that card is mostly just to help your Gardevoir matchup, just because sometimes Gardevoir can get a little too overwhelming. 2 Field Blower, because you want to get off those Fighting Fury belts from like Volcanion. Well, Volcanion doesn't really matter, but from like Buzzwole, and being able to stop that Garbotoxin, which is everywhere. 1 Rescue Stretcher, just because we have a couple more Pokemon here that are really valuable, and just being able to shuffle in or get one that you need. You didn't used to have these before, you used to just play a Karen, but it's kind of irrelevant now that Vespiquen's gone. 4 Ultra Ball, really standard. We're playing 1 Bridget, because I don't feel like you need it that much. We have Bacon, and it's being able to Ultra Ball. It's not like Gardevoir, you absolutely have to. It's not a Stage 2. 3 Guzma, being able to get anything. 4 N for Sycamore, and 1 Professor Kukui. I decided to add this deck after Jose Morel had 2 of them in there. I think 1 is just perfectly fine. It's not too great of a card, but in this deck it can be great just to be able to hit for some numbers, because this is seeing 190 with a Choice Band, you can hit 210, like one shot of Glossop, and this guy can hit 150 with a Choice Band and 170, we can knock out a Lele with it. So it can hit some really good numbers with it, but most of the time we're not going to really want to be using that. So yeah, that's the Decidueye Ninetales deck. We also have some Choice Band Float Stones and the Energy, of course. I think this will be a little big of a showing there, as it easily deserves a top 5. And then for 4th place, I have Drampa Carboater. Everyone's been placing this deck really high, but I don't feel like it's still that great yet. It did have a huge comeback during Vancouver Regionals, and Toad Reckliffe, which is happy birthday to him today, by the way, on November something. November should be 12th. This deck was probably the best deck in format for a long time until Gardevoir came around and took its place. I just feel like since Drampa does have that fighting weakness, it gets a little lower because Buzzwole kind of wrecks it. But still, you have the Psychic against that, and this deck is super consistent. That's why it's up so high, even though it has a terrible Gardevoir matchup. And just being able to Berserk every turn, or Psychic or Sight Beam, is super good. Just having a 1-1 Espeon line in there is really good. Espeon EX, because it's not going to be like one-shotting things with Metagross, or like Gardevoir with Drampa, so being able to Miraculous Shine them and get the KO is always nice. Potown's in there, so you can activate Berserk and get those evolutions. I think this card is super good in this deck right now. 2 Floatstone, because it's more added to discard. 2 Rescue Treasure to reuse these guys. Bridget, Hollow's in here because it's just like a 9th draw supporter, which a lot of top players have been saying on Facebook that they always needed a draw supporter, so it's either Lily or Hollow, and I think Hollow is more useful. And we have 7 Psychic Energy, 4 DCE, 4 Floatstone, for mostly this guy, because this guy is like a meta breaker right now. Kicks ass against Greninja, Vikabulu, Gardevoir. Just like pretty much every deck in format really needs their abilities, and Garbotoxin's just been a huge part of the meta ever since it came out back again. 4 Choice Band, just because hitting the extra 30 damage is fantastic. We're playing 4 Guzma, like I said before. Drampa being able to hit 180 is really good. And yeah, this is a really standard list. A lot of people in Vancouver are playing 3 Trubbish. I'm not about that. I think you either play 3 or don't play Grandpa Carboater. I mean, play 4 or don't play Grandpa Carboater. So yeah, that's Grandpa Carboater. And then in 3rd place, I have the new archetype, Buzzwole Carboater. Hold on. There's a list error here. Took that out. Took this out. And yeah. 1 second. And then we're going to add 3 of these. Okay. So here is a Buzzwole Carboater. This deck I've been playing testing a lot. I'm thinking of playing it for the League Cup. I'm going to be hopefully filming or streaming this weekend. We'll keep you in check with that. But this deck is super good. Just being able to Jet Bunch on this Buzzwole, just pretty much turn 1. And a Fighting Fury on a Strong Energy doing 60-30, so that's super good. And this new card I think is legit the only good card. I think Zavali GX is interesting, but I don't think it's that great. And then we have the Espeon, of course, because you're hitting ways to devolve, like you're hitting like 60, eventually 80, 90, stuff like that, so you can devolve all your opponents. Excuse me, huge GX Pokemon. We have the Lele, obviously. And I'm playing a 4-2-2 Garboater. Most people were playing a 3-2-1, but I feel like just having a thicker Garboater line is just going to add more consistency, because this deck has had a lot of consistency problems, and this has really helped. And then the best tech card ever, Tapu Fini, just because you do... Gardevoir's a tricky matchup, guys, so you can able to Jet Punch, get other Pokemon down, but since Gardevoir's like super fast, like it's a fast for a stage 2 deck because of Secret Spring, and if you aren't able to get like sometimes Gardevoir goes off. Like I was playing against Raichu in round 4 of a league challenge that I didn't get to film because my phone died, but I just went off and just turn 3, I just knocked out 3 Raichus and it was over. So just in case that does happen to us, we can just get away that huge, powerful threat with Tapu Fini, and it can buy us a turn also. So this card is just really good. It's also in Glossop Carboater, and it's just super good. 2 Field Blower because stuff. 1 Special Charge because we are playing 8 Special Energy. I think it's very necessary because all the Enhanced Hammer. 4 Ultra Ball standard. Acerola, this deck is kind of just like Glossop Garboater, except more consistent because you don't have a dual stage 1 deck. It's just a basic and a stage 1. And you don't need that much stuff. So, and also Acerola, just because Buzzwole with a Fighting Fury Belt has 230 HP. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 3 Guzma, so you can like snipe some early Pokemon early, and also Garboater late game is amazing. We have Fighting Fury Belt instead of Choice Band. I feel like just hitting, instead of 50 with Buzzwole, 60 is super good, and also 230 HP is better. You can't use Choice Band you can't use that on this guy, but I feel like it's better here. You could play 3 of these and add another energy if you really wanted to. I just like to play 4 tool cards if I have the space. 4 Floatstone because of this guy, and then we have 4 Strong Energy because we're playing Fighting. This because you can use in all these Pokemon, especially this guy, and just 2 of regular fighting energy, just because sometimes you need them. So that is Buzzwole Garboater. I know I've played this a bunch on the channel lately, and yeah. Next, I think 2nd place is easily deserved as this deck right here, Glossop Garboater. I love this deck. I think this is this and another deck, which consists of, yeah, Buzzwole Garboater. I think those are the 2 main. main decks I was thinking of playing. Here is Glossop, my bad. Glossop has been super good ever since it came out with that first impression attack, just 1 energy, 120. This deck is kind of just like Buzzwole, except you have Glossop who's doing a lot more damage, but it's a little inconsistent since it is a stage 2. And you have to require more on Bridget, but this is kind of similar to the list that won Bremen. I don't remember the guy's name. I think it was Marcus Luce who won. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, man. But he piloted this deck, did a great job. Took down Toy Reckless in the finals, which is hard to do, by the way. And yeah, so this deck has been piloted ever since Naoto Suzuki got 2nd place at Worlds with it. It's a super solid deck, just being able to like charge with Glossop for a couple prizes and finish out with Carboater in the end. Just being a super powerful archetype all through the end. And then we have also the Tapu Fini that has also been shocking in this deck because, you know, Gardevoir and especially Ho-Oh GX, I found out this card is very, very useful. Just being able to throw it all in there after Kiawe, it just leaves them with nothing. 2 Field Blower, obvious reasons. 1 Heavy Ball because Glossop, 3 retreat cost. Wimpod, 3 retreat cost. Carboater, 3 retreat cost. Other Carboater, 3 retreat cost. Super good in this deck. I wish I could have more, but I feel like it's very necessary. Just 1 Rescue Stretcher because we need more stuff. 4 Ultra Ball. 3 Eraserola, like same reason we talked about Buzzwole, just being able to bounce those Glossopods. Bridget. 4 Guzma because it works super well. Just being able to reuse First Impression, and you're usually 2-shotting everything, so it's going to help you get a knockout. 4 N, 4 Sycamore, 4 Choice Band, 4 Floatstone. 4 Double Colorless Energy. Being able to, so we can have the options for Cross and Cut and Armor Press, Energy Drive, and of course Flying Flip. 4 Rainbow Energy because that works with here, and if you really, really wanted to, Tapu Cure, and also just getting that 1 damage on there, just in case you need to reuse a Glossop, you can Acerola, and of course just 3 Grass Energy. So maybe you don't want to get your Glossop damage, but this deck is super solid. I think this is possibly the deck I'm going to be playing for the League Cup this upcoming weekend, just because I've had a lot of practice with it, more practice than I have with Buzzwole, and honestly I think it's better than Buzzwole, just in general, because it's doing way more damage. But it's up to you guys. On that's part of your decision. Buzzwole, Garb, or Golly Garb, I think Glossop is better. And of course, everyone knows what number 1 is, but I think it's one of my favorite decks of all time, Gardevoir, just because it's just so powerful. Here's the list. You could take this out and put 1-1 on Artillery, but I think right now, just having another attacker is super broken. Even though you'd have weakness to Buzzwole and this thing, but I still feel like it's better. Let's jump into the list. Alright, so we have the 2-2 Sylveon line, which has been showing up to be super broken because Magical Ribbon, just being able to get all those cards. Fairy Rend is there, and it's also for early turns, just a damage soaker. And PleGX, just being able to pull up Metagrosses and Volcanions, which are mostly used for. So that's a huge addition, and also just being able to attach an energy with Energy Evolution, super broken. Then we have the 1-1 Zoroark, just because we need some draw power, and its attack is very good. 4-2, 1-3 Gardevoir line, we have the Ralts, 2 Curlia, Gallade, which is just there for its premonition and also to go through mostly Ninetales. And then the best card in the format, Gardevoir GX, Seeker Spring and Infinite Force Attack and Twilight GX. All super, super good cards. I mean, attacks. Like, this card is probably one of the best attacking cards ever printed. And it's super hard to stop. So I think there's only one true good deck in format, and this is this card. Every single other deck is it's just bad compared to this, but it has ways to counter Gardevoir. So for instance, if you think about Glossop Garboater, you have Acerolas and Tapu Fini. Think about Buzzwole, they have Espeon and like Coco and stuff like that. So every single deck is just mediocre, but tries to counter Gardevoir. So that's my opinion on Gardevoir. I think it's the best card in a really long time. It's super, super good, but being a stage 2, it does have its weaknesses, just trying to set up and stuff like that, but usually it's no problem because this deck is very, very consistent. Then we have 2 Lele, just because you want to bridge in and get your entire bench full, so having a 3rd Lele is kind of useless. 2 Field Blower, because ability is really important, and so is Fighting Fury, but annoying. 4 Rare Candy, just to speed up the Gardevoir process. 2 Super Rod, because Fairy Energy and all this line, I think, is better than having any Rescue Stretcher. 4 Ultra Ball, and then 2 Parallel City. This card is really good against Greninja, Volcanion, Metagross. Just being able to limit your opponent's bench Pokemon is super good, and reducing them is fine. And sometimes you can knock off some other Gardevoirs, kind of like old Despair Ray Gardevoir was. You Despair Ray, knock off a bunch of damaged Pokemon, and do more damage. It's really good. 2 Bridget, so if we prize it, we don't lose. Like, you need Bridget turn 1, or it's going to be really hard. 3 Guzma, just because we're doing a lot of damage, we want to kill stuff. 1 Mallow, because this card is super good with Zoroark. You just discard and get exactly 2 cards you want. Another reason why I'm playing Zoroark is, besides its good ability and good attack, is that it's super good in early game, because late game you're getting end to 1 and stuff like that. You just discard and get that. Auxiliary's better. But in early game, you have your hand is full, and just being able to draw more cards early game and get even more set up is just more valuable than just having a Sushi Master there. And 4 and 4 Sycamore, 2 Choice Band, only 1 Float Stone, because everything here has either 2 or 1 retreat cost. And you have so much energy, acceleration doesn't even matter. 4 Double Colors Energy and 7 Fair Energy. This deck is super self-explanatory. If you don't know what Gardevoir is, you really need to, because it's going to be shown everywhere. After Pablo Meza has his really good victory in Vancouver, this deck has been popping up, and I think it had like 5 of the top 8 spots in Vancouver. So yeah, this is my deck analysis for the top 5 decks coming into the London Intercontinental Championships. Good luck to everyone attending there, and we'll see you guys later.